Jim, another story this past week I did want to mention here on the show, and I must admit I don't know too much about this wrestler. I've heard the name. Chris Bay apparently was injured, works for TNA Impact, and was on one of their shows in a tag match against the Hardys, who are now back in Impact, where he was somehow hurt and apparently...
And by the way, remember, boy, nobody knows how to hold a grudge anymore. Remember when Matt Hardy was suing these same people because they wouldn't let go of his broken gimmick? And his wife was cussing him, and they were suing him, and boy, howdy, and now they're back there. Can nobody hold a fucking grudge anymore?
Well, he's got bills to pay.
God damn it, that makes you madder. Makes you better able to hold a grudge. Motherfucker thinks I'm going to go back to work for him. I'll goddamn turn to crime.
Well, the last few years, usually in the Hardys matches that we've seen, it's them getting hurt. In this case, Chris Bay unfortunately got hurt. It seems like it was rather serious from what I've read and reports I've seen. Any thoughts on this? What do you know about this? Do you know who this is? Have you seen him?
Well, no, I'm like you. At first, I thought it was Turhan Bay. Then I realized I've been watching too many mummy movies for Halloween. But no, we don't want Chris Bay to be hurt. I don't know who Chris Bay is, and I haven't seen him work. But apparently, he was coming off the top rope and supposed to be caught in a Cody Cutter type of thing or whatever, flying twist of fate, and he fucked his neck up. And he went down and didn't get up, and apparently, they not only called the ambulance, took him to the hospital, but they did emergency surgery on him that night, which is unusual even in these cases where people get carried out. And now he's staying in, where were they? Were they in Canada?
Oh, actually, I don't know.
Wherever they were at, he's staying there. I was trying to find, I had notes here on this. No, he's in Detroit. God damn, that's almost as bad as being in Canada.
Same thing.
Yeah. But he's begun rehab, and he's, there in Detroit, and they've started a GoFundMe, and people are contributing, but family, I guess, by his side or the notes that... So anyway, that's not good, obviously, and it ain't ballet, and things happen, but we talked about the diving headbutt a little earlier. That does more damage to the person giving it than the person taking it, because I mentioned not only if you go head to head with somebody, but more importantly, the neck and the back compression and bending somebody backwards and that motion. If he was trying to do the same move and landed, did his head snap back? In which case, what kind of conditioner is vertebrae in, blah, blah, blah. They're doing that a lot. Everybody does that move now. And Orton's got it over, and he doesn't have, to fucking run and jump off the rope and fly into it. Cody's got it over where he does have to jump off the rope and fly into it, but the guys taking it are as important as the guy giving it. And you can fuck it up, and things can happen, and it can... And we saw Orton the other night on an NXT show that he guest starred on. The guy missed him entirely. So there's a lot of margin for error on this thing. And it's another one of those things that people haven't been paying any attention to because they think it's safe. But no, none of this shit's safe. You can make it safer. But with as many people as doing this, in as many different matches, sooner or later, it was going to fucking happen, and I guess it just happened.
Well, again, very sad hearing that he's hurt. He has a GoFundMe that apparently the wrestling business has really gotten behind. I think about $80,000 has been raised, and let's hope it helps and he can get back in the ring at some point. Jim...
Brian?
I can't really transition to him needing to sue. I don't know who he would sue. But perhaps someone needs to sue, and we know someone who's for you if you need to sue.
And if not, we know all the words to Sioux City Sue. And it is sung by the vocal stylings of this man.
Call Stephen P. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or two. Those are the rest.
That's right, folks. If you've never heard the vocal stylings of Stephen P. New with his West Virginia accent singing Sioux City Sue, then you just haven't lived. But I'll tell you what, you'll be living large and in charge like Marge on a barge when you are represented in open court by Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 877-50-STEVE, because he will represent you to the promised land, to the pay window, to compensation, to recompense, to revenge, vengeance, and getting even. You know, a lot of people don't place the proper emphasis and importance, Brian, on a good old-fashioned case of revenge anymore. You hear most people saying, live and let live. Let's tolerate everybody. No, goddamn revenge is what the world, it makes it go around. And if you've got somebody you want revenge on, as long as you can prove they did something at least halfway illegal, just tag in Stephen P. New and he'll take care of the rest. By the time he finishes with it, it'll be all the way illegal. Stephen P. New at newlawoffice.com, 877-50-STEVE. You were about to make a comment?
I was about to say, no, it won't be all the way illegal. Stephen P. New is the man for you.
Well, no.
A man of the law.
He can take something that's only halfway illegal and he can figure out a way to make it all the way illegal to your benefit.
He is a man of the law.
He is a man of the cloth and a man of the law. Because he wears cloth every time he goes into a courtroom. He has never once given a final argument naked as a jaybird.
Once again, Stephen P. New.